It was a quiet evening inside the presidential palace of Ouagadougou. The air was calm, the guards were relaxed, and everything appeared normal. But beneath that silence, a dark plan was already unfolding. A betrayal so shocking that no one could have imagined it. And it came from someone closest to Captain Ibrahim Traoré, his own blood, his cousin, the man who grew up with him, the boy who once ate from the same plate as him, the young man who once swore loyalty to him. That very cousin entered the palace with a deadly mission. Guards had seen him many times before. They knew him as family, so they didn't suspect a thing. He carried no visible weapon, just a small bag slung across his shoulder. Inside that bag, however, was the tool of betrayal. A knife, sharpened to perfection. A weapon chosen not for war, but for treachery. He had planned it for weeks. He had memorized every corridor of the palace. He knew the guards' rotation times. Ibrahim was inside the palace hall, reviewing state documents. Burkina Faso was under pressure. Attacks, sanctions, plots from the west. It was endless. But the captain's spirit remained unshaken. He trusted his people. He trusted his family. He never imagined that betrayal would come from within. His cousin approached, pretending to greet him. "Brother, it has been long," he said, smiling. Ibrahim stood up to embrace him. That hug was supposed to be warm. Instead, it was the perfect cover for a strike. The cousin's hand slipped into the bag. He pulled out the knife, hidden from the guard's view. In his heart, he thought, "Tonight, it ends." He raised the weapon slowly, but something happened. At that exact moment, one of Ibrahim's trusted aides entered. He noticed the flash of steel in the cousin's hand. His shout broke the silence. "Knife! He has a knife!" The hall erupted into chaos. Guards rushed forward. The cousin panicked. His strike missed Ibrahim's chest by inches. The blade cut through his uniform, but not his flesh. Ibrahim spun around, shocked but steady. For a second, their eyes locked. Ibrahim saw something he could not believe, the hatred in his cousin's face. "Why?" Ibrahim asked, stunned. But the cousin said nothing. He slashed wildly, trying to break free. Guards swarmed him, wresting the knife from his hand. The sound of metal hitting the floor echoed through the palace. Ibrahim stepped back, breathing heavily. He had just escaped death by a second. A betrayal that cut deeper than the knife ever could. His cousin was dragged to the ground. Shackles were thrown onto his wrists. "You dare raise your hand against your own blood?" one guard shouted. But the cousin only laughed. "Blood means nothing when power is at stake," he spat. The hall went cold. Ibrahim stood still, unable to speak for a moment. Betrayal from a stranger is expected. Betrayal from family is poison. Ibrahim finally said, "You were my brother. Why join my enemies?" The cousin's reply shook everyone present. "Because your enemies promised me the world." The truth exploded in the room. Foreign influence had entered his family. Enemies of Burkina Faso had planted the seed of treachery. Ibrahim's cousin was their weapon. They didn't send mercenaries this time. They didn't send drones. They sent blood against blood. A tactic as old as history itself. Divide the family, weaken the leader. But Ibrahim had survived. Guards carried the cousin to the palace prison. His laughter echoed in the corridor. "You think you've won?" he shouted. "They will come again. They will not stop." Ibrahim watched him disappear into the darkness. His heart was heavy. He thought of their childhood, the times they shared food during famine, the days they dreamed of a better future for their village. How had it come to this? That night, Ibrahim could not sleep. The attempted assassination replayed in his mind. He saw the knife, the hatred, the betrayal. But above all, he saw the lesson. Even the closest circle could be infiltrated. Even family could be bought. The war for Burkina Faso's freedom was not only on the battlefield, It was inside homes. It was inside bloodlines. It was inside trust. The palace grew tense after the attack. Guards doubled their patrols. Every visitor was checked twice. Even family members were no longer trusted blindly. Ibrahim had changed that day. He became colder, sharper, more cautious, but also more determined. They had failed to kill him. They had failed to break him. The attempt only made him stronger. The cousin was interrogated. He revealed shocking details. He had been contacted by foreign agents. They promised him money, land, and power if he killed Ibrahim. They told him he would be the new leader of Burkina Faso. They poisoned his mind with lies. They convinced him that betrayal was destiny, and he believed them. But destiny had spared Ibrahim and cursed the traitor. News of the betrayal spread across Burkina Faso. The people were furious. How could family betray our captain? They asked. Crowds gathered outside the palace, demanding justice. Some shouted for execution, others prayed for forgiveness. But all agreed on one thing. The enemies of Africa were desperate. They would use any means, even family blood, to stop Ibrahim Traoré. Ibrahim appeared before the people. His voice was steady but filled with emotion. "My brothers and sisters," he began, "tonight I faced death, not from a stranger, but from my own cousin." Gasps filled the crowd. Yes, he was used by our enemies. Yes, he raised his hand against me. But understand this, their weapons are not only guns and bombs. Their greatest weapon is corruption of the soul. They seek to turn us against ourselves. But they will fail. The crowd erupted in cheers. Ibrahim raised his fist. They want to divide us, but we are one. They want to bribe us, but we stand firm. They want to kill me, but I live. And as long as I live, Burkina Faso will never kneel. The people roared his name. Traoré, Traoré, Traoré. The attempted assassination turned into a moment of unity. The betrayal had backfired. But deep down, Ibrahim's heart carried a scar. He could forgive many things, but not betrayal from his own blood. It was a wound that would never heal. He decided never again to let family ties blind him. From that day, loyalty was not about blood. It was about commitment to the nation. He told his soldiers, "From now on, the only family we trust is Burkina Faso." And they saluted him with pride, for they knew his words were true. The cousin remained in prison, isolated, broken, and forgotten. He had gambled his bloodline for gold, and he lost everything. No foreign power came to rescue him. No promised land or wealth arrived. He was just another pawn discarded by his masters. Meanwhile, Ibrahim rose higher. His survival became legendary. His people loved him even more. Across Africa, leaders heard the story. Some were shocked, some were not surprised. They too knew the tactics of the West. But they admired Ibrahim's courage. They saw how he turned betrayal into strength. His survival became a warning to others, a warning that family can be a weapon in the wrong hands, a warning that loyalty must be earned, not assumed, a warning that the battle for freedom is everywhere. Ibrahim sat alone one night in the palace. He looked at the stars above Ouagadougou. He thought of his cousin. He thought of the knife. He thought of how close death had been, and he whispered to himself, "I survived, not for me, but for my people." His resolve was unbreakable. His mission was clearer than ever. Nothing, family, betrayal, or foreign power, would stop him. The palace lights shone brightly again. The guards stood taller. The people slept peacefully, for they knew their captain still lived. The nation was shaken but not broken. Ibrahim Traoré had faced betrayal and survived. He had faced death and risen stronger. The story would be told for generations, a story of blood, betrayal, and resilience. The night Ibrahim Traoré's cousin tried to kill him inside the palace,